Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to ChannelBK. My name is Brian. We're here for list week. It's a crazy time of the year, but I am super excited to be talking about all these lists and everything on the lists. Movies will come in the new year, per usual, but we're going to start and finish out the year with music lists. So the first one is top 5 concerts of 2022. Fortunately, concerts are back. I'm so happy, so excited. We, had a lot of concerts that we went to this year, and I can't wait to talk about them. So, for honorable mentions, we have Touché Amoré 22, which was the tour with Touché Amoré with Scowl, Militarie and Vane.fm. And then we had Riot Fest, which Riot Fest, I debated putting some of the shows on the actual list. I didn't feel like it was right because I much rather just kind of talked about it in a concert way. I will say that the most honorable mention of it, even though MCR was there, Jeff Rosenstock was there, which they were great. He was great, excuse me. I guess because he's kind of like one of those, he's a band too, like Marilyn Manson or something, right? But Yellow Card, the reunion for Ocean Avenue album was incredible. They had an amazing show. Honestly, Yellow Card would be on the top 5 if they could. I'm just picky about my rules and stuff, but they're probably the most honorable mention of Riot Fest. So without further ado, let's get into it. At number 5, we have World Tour 2022 from Sigur Rós. Sigur Rós is a Icelandic band that I think, if you don't think you know about them, you probably do. This tour was something that I think a lot like Bon Iver, obviously, besides certain differences, definitely was just one of those moody kind of shows. You just sat down, let the music play out, and it was a lot more rockin' than you thought. Obviously, Sigur Rós is great at that, but they did 2 sets. So I believe it was the first half of the show was their first couple albums. The second half was their later albums. We're hopefully getting a new album from them. They've been kind of MIA, or I know Jonsi has been doing his own stuff and whatnot, but for them to come back is really exciting, and it was a really good show. I think it was very simple, and it was one of those things where you just kind of sat down and just let the music take over, and it was incredible. Very great show. At number 4, this is a show that I think people are gonna get on me for, because people may think from watching other videos on my channel that this may be a joke, but it's actually not. It's the Forever Tour Big Time Rush with Dixie. And no shade to Dixie, but whatever. But Big Time Rush, I'm going to tell you, this show was way better than it needed to be, because they sounded great. They put on a great show. I guess this just kind of goes with groups like this that are that, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys type of feel. They had so much fun with the crowd. They did a lot of, obviously more mainstreamy things, too, with certain things here and there. It's what you expect out of a boy band that was created through Nickelodeon. But, hey, I even told my girlfriend, I just said, I don't even think they needed to go this hard, and they did. It was really great, and they played all of their songs. It was a long-ass set, too. It went on for a while, which is not a bad thing, but it was a long show. It was an hour and a half or so, but it was great. It was fantastic. They were awesome, and it was, again, so much fun. And number 3 is an artist that I always feel so bad about, because maybe one day he'll be number 1, and it was just so unfortunate with how this year rolled out with concerts. It's the Call Me If You Get Lost tour. That is Tyler, the Creator, Tezzo Touchdown, Vince Staples, and Uchis. Callie was great. Vince was way better than when he opened for Tyler on the Flower Boy tour. I think the sound was a lot better, and I think as a performer he was much, much better. Tezzo Touchdown, it's not really my thing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I like that one song, Don't Be a Sucker. It was great. But he was on Call Me If You Get Lost, so it was kind of a cool, having him come on tour with him. Tyler just gets better every freaking show. Obviously with Igor, The stage was a lot more minimal. There were still cool things, but the Flower Boy tour was awesome. This tour, the house set was awesome. I loved how he took the boat across through all the people, and then he performed songs on the little island part. I thought how he did all of his older songs was really cool and respectful. He did kind of a cool melody of them. It wasn't just like he did like two-part, like a quick little hook and then move on. He did a lot of those because obviously at this point Tyler's definitely kind of doing like Flower Boy onward with a little bit of Cherry Bomb, but there's really nothing before that, which is sad, but I mean his new stuff's fantastic. But just the creativity and just what he was doing and him as a performer is great. I love the way he interacts with the audience. He's obviously so funny. You would think as he got older, he's definitely like calmer in certain ways. Like he's not just this crazy all over the place making dumb comments or whatever, but he's really charismatic and he just knows how to put on a show. And I definitely feel like this show was like top notch and he was able to fulfill this show. And I was sitting next to Hive Mind, and I was kind of second guessing myself the entire time, so that was funny. But yes, Call Me If You Get Lost tour. Number 2, again, I'm weird about rules. If I were to just go based off of the main person I was going to see, I probably would have had this at number 1, because it should have been at number 1. Featuring the Lemon Twigs and Thursday, it's the reunion tour, My Chemical Romance. I mean, what can I say about My Chemical Romance? Openers didn't do too much for me, but this is a show that I've been waiting on now for like nearly 3 years at this point. And it was so emotional. The set list was fantastic. I had a whole podcast over on the Warren Rascals where I talked more in depth about a lot of stuff going through the show and the set list itself. So if you want to know that, go check that out. I will say, just for a show I've been waiting this long for, it was one of those hopes of like this. I was hoping and praying that this show was going to be as good as I was hoping it'd be. And it was like every year that I got pushed, it was just more nerve-wracking. And they sounded amazing. And it felt so good to hear from them again. And it was a really great show. And I talk about it a little more in depth when it comes to like maybe things that I felt opinion-wise on maybe a set list or like performance thing here and there, what have you. So I would just say definitely check that out, because if you want to know more in detail, like I said, it was a fantastic show, awesome show, loved it. And number 1, I told all of you that it's, a combination of things and just maybe like expectations and vibes, and from the set lists on both accounts to the performances on both accounts and just to the vibe that the show was bringing and all that stuff. This show was just a show that I just remember coming away from being like, I think this may be my favorite show of the year. And that is the Back to Normal tour with Idols, with Injury Reserve. I got to see Richie again, kind of see, how he was doing. Even though I saw him back in 2021 in Chicago, but it was nice. So this is the 3rd time I've seen Injury Reserve. They did, by the time I get to Phoenix all the way through again, it was a weird crowd with, them there for, Idols, a more punk show. But, they did an amazing job. And sorry, by the way, for the video playing, I never ended up getting a video of Idols. I may have the picture pop up in there. And then just, they sounded much better this time playing through their whole album, because it was obviously less theatrical and like more of like, I think he was just going to perform it. It was still theatrical, but I could tell, like, you could understand they were coming from it in a more opener point of view. But then Idols, oh my gosh. Joe Talbot man. Like, you know, they haven't obviously gone on tour. They put out 2 albums since COVID happened. Like, lockdown first initially started. And my goodness, they just ripped shit up. It was such this great energy, and Joe was just so charismatic. Like, he is just one of my favorite live performers now. And it was just so impressive to me. Like, I was just enamored with everything that the show had going on. And yeah, I mean, there's not that much else that I could say about the show. Like I said, it was so well done, and it was also very simple, straight to the point, but it just hit the right spot, and it hit everything properly, and it was awesome. It was so freaking awesome. And yeah, Back to Normal tour. I wouldn't have expected it to be this over my chem, but you know, that is how those things go. But yeah, what are some of your favorite shows of the year? Leave them in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe while you're at it. I got 2 more lists for the rest of the year. Movies list in the new year. You can check out all my other videos. And like I said, check out that My Chem video, because that is definitely a more in-depth look at that concert for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in to ChannelBK. Peace out, everyone.